welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the data behind Japan's summer COVID wave to really understand what's going on.
So have you noticed it? More people coughing and sniffling lately? Maybe you're seeing a few more masks out and about. Well, if you have, you're not imagining things. Something is definitely going around.
And yep, the official data confirms it. We're looking at numbers that show COVID cases have been climbing for 8 weeks in a row. It's pretty clear we're in another summer wave.
And look, this isn't just some number on a chart. A recent survey found that almost 1 in 3 people, we're talking 30.6%, know someone who's had COVID in just the last 2 months. That really brings it home, doesn't it? It feels like it's getting close again.
Okay, so what's driving all this? What's behind this new wave? Well, you've probably guessed it. It's a new variant, and this one is a pro at spreading.
They're calling it Nimbus, like a rain cloud. Its official name is a bit of a mouthful, NB.1.8.1. But what you really need to know is that it's part of the Omicron family. Yep, that family. We're all pretty familiar with it by now.
Now, a lot of the symptoms are what you'd expect, but this one has a signature. It's a sore throat that is so painful. One doctor actually described it as feeling like swallowing a razor blade. Wow, that just sounds awful.
So where did this Nimbus variant come from? Well, you can think of it like a family tree. It's the latest evolution of Omicron. It came from a previous subvariant called Griffin, so it's basically the new and improved version that's figured out how to keep spreading. But wait a second, a respiratory virus spreading in the middle of summer? That kind of feels weird, right? So why now? Let's break it down. Okay, so experts are pointing to a couple of things that are creating a perfect storm. First up, air conditioning. We're all blasting it, right? But that dries out the air, and it dries out our airways, which basically rolls out the red carpet for the virus. And second, it's summer. People are traveling, getting together for holidays like Oban. And that just means more chances for the virus to jump from person to person. And you know what? This isn't really a surprise. If you look back, for the past 5 years, Japan has seen this exact pattern, a COVID surge in the summer and another one in the winter. It's like clockwork. This new wave is just following the playbook. So we've got the virus, we've got our summer habits, but experts are saying there's something else going on, something deeper, and frankly, a bit more worrying, and that's us, our behavior. It seems like a lot of us are just over it. And you can really see this apathy in the vaccination numbers. I mean, check this out. A recent survey shows that only 8.1% of people got a COVID shot in the last year. Just 8%. That's a huge drop. And to give you some perspective on how low that 8.1% really is, let's go back to the H1N1 flu back in 2009. The vaccination rate then, 32.6%. That's 4 times higher than what we're seeing with COVID today. That's a massive shift in how we're responding to these things. And it's not just vaccines. People are hesitating about treatment too. And a big reason for that is money. The government isn't covering the full cost anymore. So if you get sick and want an antiviral, like Sexcova, you could be looking at paying around 15,000 yen out of your own pocket for a 5-day course.
So the big question is, would you pay it? When people were asked that, the answer was a perfect 50-50 split. Half said, yeah, I'd pay. But the other half said, nope. That means half the population might just decide to tough it out at home without any medication.
Okay, so all this apathy, it seems to come from one big idea, that COVID is basically just like the flu now. We hear that all the time, right? But is it true? Let's really dig into the numbers and see what they say. All right, get ready for this, because this is probably the most important number we're going to talk about. Since last May, when COVID was officially put in the same category as the flu, it has caused 15 times more deaths than the flu. Let me say that again, not 1.5 times, 15 times more. That is a staggering difference. So when we talk about this being a mild virus, who is it really mild for? The data tells a really clear and frankly, a very sad story. In the last year, a whopping 97% of all the people who died from COVID were elderly. So while it might be a bad cold for some of us, for the most vulnerable people in our society, it is still incredibly deadly. So because the risk is still so high for some, health experts are making a pretty simple request. They're not saying we need to go back to lockdowns or anything like that. They're just saying, hey, can we at least treat COVID with the same level of caution we already use for the flu? It's a recalibration of our thinking.
And that really leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? As we all try to move on, what is our responsibility to protect the people who are still at serious risk? Is it enough for each of us to just be careful on our own, or do we need something more to protect the most vulnerable among us?